everybody. I'm Jennifer.
I'm Carol. Welcome back to Two Tall Stitchers. This is Flosstube number 3. We have lots to talk about and lots to show you, so get something to drink and get ready.
Thanks a lot for all the love we got on Flosstube 2. We appreciate a lot of the comments. We know they were about Cork and rabbits and friends.
Unbelievable. I'm thinking the next time we need to have a wine giveaway because so many of you had to pop that cork out of the bottle that, you know, I guess I don't know if it's legal to ship wine, but boy, a lot of you must drink a lot.
And we appreciate that.
Oh, we do too.
We like wine
we
too.
do too. We drink.
Yes, but we really enjoy.
But not right now.
No.
We're sober this morning.
Okay. We enjoyed all the creativity in your comments, and
they were fantastic.
Last time we were texting back and forth, like, can you believe how many people watched our videos, subscribed to our channel? This time we were like, you have to see this comment, it's hysterical. So yes. We have a lot of fun talking through everything. We have been in the last 3 weeks doing a lot of stitching, a little bit of quilting, and some finishing, and also watching a ton of Flosstube.
Do you know how much time we spend watching Flosstube? Hopefully we're doing something while we're watching it so that we can be productive, but yeah. There's a lot of good stuff on Flosstube. Yeah. Another rabbit hole.
Yes. So I want to specifically give a thank you to a few other Flosstubers who have mentioned our new channel. We really appreciate it and appreciate you sharing us with your subscribers and your watchers. So special thanks to Jen Bowman, Janet Jabber, and Kindred Stitcher. Thank you all for shouting us out. If someone else has shared about us on the channel, please leave us a comment and let us know. We'd love to come over and visit your channel. And also, if you're here because you heard about us from someone else, please let us know so that we can go meet them as well. So I think with all that, we'll jump right into questions, and then we'll go on to show you the multitude of things that we have on this table. It's quite full this week. So,
hoping it doesn't tip.
Let's start with questions. Our first question is from Beth. Beth is somebody we met at our quilt retreat and Stitches with Mom.
Not cross-stitch retreat.
What?
Beth.
What did I say?
You said quilt retreat.
Oh, sorry. We do lots of retreats. Anyway, and Beth is somebody you've stitched with during the week. So she asked, how do you stitch on 28 count fabric? She just bought it for the first time. She's traditionally been an 8 stitcher.
It's really not hard. It just takes a little bit of adjustment, Beth. You stitch over 2 threads each direction, 2 up and 2 over when you're stitching. And there are probably several floss tubes about stitching on linen or stitching on even weave over 2. And if not, we can certainly show you at retreat. Yeah. We'll be glad to help you.
Yeah, so I know probably the mention of a cross-stitch retreat will generate a lot of comments and questions, so maybe we'll talk very quickly. In 2018, we hosted our first small retreat called Indie Summer Stitchers. We hosted it again in 2019, and then you guys all know what happened in 2020.
Yep.
We are planning for it again. Right now it is full. However, if space opens up, we will certainly let you know. It's a small retreat nearby, and it's just stitching. But hopefully either we'll be able to grow it in the coming years and have more than one retreat a year, or we'll be able to open it up to more people.
We really like the thought of 2 smaller retreats because then you get to know people. We've been to some retreats where there's, like 75 and 100 people, and it's like, I never knew you were at that retreat, and they were like at the other end of the room. So our retreat is small enough that everybody gets to know everybody, and we have a good time. So hopefully we're kicking around having a spring retreat, right?
Yeah, yeah.
We'll let you know.
Yes, we definitely will. That would be next year.
Oh, yeah. Not this year.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, the next question was from Jenny, and Jenny asked, what's a simple small quilt that you would recommend for someone who's trying to quilt for the first time? She loved your Valentine quilt. So
that was not simple.
Yeah, I think we talked about this and we both struggled with it a little bit. So first thing we'd like to do is recommend local quilt shops. If you have a quilt shop that's near you, Go in, visit with them, tell them you're just getting started, you want to try something, and they can certainly point you to some beginner patterns. I think in my experience, one designer who writes really nice patterns, and they're generally pretty simple, is Atkinson Designs, and I'll include that in the comments or in the notes below. But she has a lot of nice patterns. I think the thing I would look for is not having to match a lot of points, because that's probably the hardest part in quilting, is being precise enough that your points match.
But sometimes if you're lucky, they do match.
Yeah.
Once in a while.
Anything else you would add on kind of easy patterns to begin with?
9 patch is a fairly basic quilt, and you could do a 9 patch and then a solid block and then a 9 patch, and an alternate block could be solid. And that way you could pick up, if you had a print, you could pick up the colors in the 9 patch or something like that. And you could, you could put together as many as you wanted across and down to make it, if you wanted it to be a baby quilt, a lap quilt, a twin.
Bed size. Start small. I think that's the advice, and look for something simple.
Yeah.
Okay, the next question is from Barbara, and it's about our scroll frames. She was asking, do we have the Velcro or the stitch-on? And is it the heavy or the lighter twill tape that's attached?
Okay, I have a sample here. This is one of the shorter frames. I haven't used this one because I don't make anything that small, really. But as you can see, it's stapled on, and it's fairly heavy twill tape. It's not a lightweight one. It's very, very, very solid. And usually what I do is I just push my fabric up underneath here and then hand baste it across here. It's not hard at all. And then you can just roll it up. And I have one that I'll show you on the frame. But this is what we use. I've never used the Velcro, so I really can't tell you how that works.
Yeah, I haven't used that either. We have the exact same kind, so I do it the same way.
And let me just make a correction from the first Flosstube. When I said I bought this for Jennifer in '96, I was wrong. I bought it for her in '92. So I've been using mine longer than that, and she's been using hers since '92, and they've lasted wonderfully.
Yeah. I think one of the comments below that is that the ones we shared last time from Stitchery.com are actually the Velcro on instead of the sew on. So we don't know how well those work, but keep an eye out. I would say check again your local quilt shops and garage sales and things like that to see if you can.
She keeps saying quilt today.
I keep saying quilt. Okay.
After effects of the COVID vaccine. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Our next question is from Padma, and she asked about the name of the banding that I used with the Wrap It Up pattern for the rabbits, and it was a jacquard banding. I got it from House of Stitches in LaPorte, Indiana. Got that one right.
Okay.
So I know you can purchase it there. I think it was a 28 count as well. So you can call them. I'm sure they do sales over the phone and also online.
And they're very responsive.
Yeah.
They get stuff out right away. They're great.
And if you're anywhere near LaPorte, Indiana, make sure you stop.
Oh,
it's
they have a
fabulous
whole wall
store
of fabric. You could go crazy in there. Ask us how we know.
Yeah. All right. The next question is from Becky, and she wants to know, when you go to a quilt store and find a fabric you can't live without, how much do you buy?
If I like it, I buy a yard. If I really like it, I might buy 2 yards. And if I really go off the deep end, I could buy 3 yards. It just depends. Not having a pattern, I don't buy a lot of fabric like that anymore without a pattern. I'm really trying because, I'm not going to live forever, and she's got enough. So, well, I'm not trying to set up her stash for when I'm gone.
Yeah.
But usually at least a yard, a minimum of a yard. And I will show you one later that I did buy a yard of the other day.
Yeah.
Which is really pretty.
I think the other thing I would say, like if it's a really unique print, I might just buy a fat quarter and make it into a project bag or some other type of bag or a purse, just so I see it more often and use it more often, because the quilts sometimes take a while to get made or they don't stay out all year, whereas like a purse I might make and use for several months at a time. So I would say think about what type of projects you like to make. If it is a background print, I think that's the exception. Usually if we find a great background, you love white on whites, I love like creams, that's when you want to buy a bigger piece, because most quilts will require at least a couple of yards for a background. So I would say if you find something you love that's a background print, buy 3 yards, 4 yards, 5 yards of that. So Again, knowing what size quilt you think you might make out of it, you'll have enough for
And
that.
you'll have enough if you decide to use it in a second quilt. I have a friend who buys at least 5 or 6 yards each time because she knows that's a backing she likes. She really likes the fairy frost, which is a fabric that's out. And so when she can find that, she'll buy, 3 or 4 or 5 yards because she uses it a lot.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, the next question is from Triva, and she said, I'm a little confused on how to order some of the Heinzit patterns.
Heinzit does not sell directly to the consumer. They sell to quilt shops. So your cross-stitch shops. See, she's got me doing it now. They sell directly to cross-stitch shops, unless they happen to have quilting in there too. But I would suggest you contact a cross-stitch shop. Fancy Works in Bloomington carries it. I believe House of Stitches in LaPorte may carry it, and see what they can order. I know in the past sometimes delivery has been longer than maybe on some orders. So I just, if you have a local shop or you want to go online, I would go to one of the shops. Nothing wrong with 1, 2, 3 Stitch and stuff like that, but I think some of the smaller shops you get a little bit more personal attention and you can talk to them.
And sometimes they also have 1 or 2 older patterns because they
Yes.
brought them into their inventory and they just didn't sell out. So sometimes I think when you go to a smaller shop, you find some unique patterns that you might not find on some of the big shops. Okay, the next question was from Lisa, and Lisa wanted to know, what is the quilt shop that you love?
Wow.
Other than all of them.
Unfortunately for me, fortunately for him, a really neat guy has opened a quilt shop that's probably
5 minutes.
5 to 7 minutes from my house. He has a fantastic eye. He is so good. His quilting is exceptional, and his fabric is wonderful.
Great.
And so,
And it's called?
and it's called Art Ovation, and it's in, I don't know it's in Fayette, Brownsburg, or Zionsville, Indiana, but it's one of those 3. I don't know that he does a lot of mail order stuff, but he's got a great selection. If you're ever in the area and you want to visit him, let me know and I'll be glad to meet you there.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we can both help him out.
Yes, it is a really nice shop. He has a lot of very contemporary fabrics. He has some good blenders.
He's got a ton of batiks.
A lot of batiks. Yeah.
He's got some good kids prints and seasonal. He's got Christmas. He's got patriotic. Yeah.
It's kind of a small shop in the front, but then it goes out and it opens up in the back. It looks very small from the front, and if you drove by, you might not stop, but trust us, stop.
Stop. Yeah. Yeah. His mom is a really nice lady, too.
Okay, the next question is from Kathy, and she really liked the challenge that we both took to use a tool that we had bought and make a quilt out of it. And her question is, do you know how many rulers I've bought from watching demos at a quilt show? I don't know, Kathy. Single digits, double digits, triple digits?
Based on us, it's uncountable, I believe, yes.
So definitely, Kathy, let us know what ruler you choose and what you make with it.
Yeah, and if you do it, send us a picture so we can show people that you did it. Because it's been fun. I have mine to show you today. It's not quilted, but it's further along than it was the last time. And so it was interesting, and I really like that ruler, and I might actually use it again.
Yeah.
Shocking.
Okay, 2 more questions. This one is from Ginger, and she says, if you use the loop knot with 1 thread doubled over, so the loop method where you take your thread and fold it in half and then go through the loop to tie it off, then what do you do with 2 strands? How do you tie it off before stitching? How do you do it?
I use the loop method when I'm using DMC, but if I'm using fancy floss like Weeks Dye Works or
Classic Color Works or
one of those other
threads,
quilting threads, But I usually when I go back, I leave enough that I can stitch a couple stitches over it.
Yeah.
And sometimes if I've missed a stitch, which I really find hard to believe that I do, I'll just cheat and I'll actually double it up and go back and put it in. But normally I just put the stitch and stitch over it and stitch over it and stitch over it, and that holds it down.
Yeah, and I like to use a method called the pin stitch, where you actually start, this works when you're stitching on linen, not necessarily on Aida. So if I'm doing Aida, I follow the same method Mom mentioned. If I'm stitching on linen, you come up in the middle hole, go down in the bottom left and then come up in the top right and go back down in the middle, and it kind of secures it. Definitely Google pin stitch on YouTube and you will find some good tutorials, because that's how I learned it. And then Vanna Pfeiffer from the Twisted Stitcher talked about it one time. I went and tried it and I was like, this is life-changing. I love it. So definitely try that pin stitch if you haven't tried it yet. And then the last question is, you mentioned a site for a stitchery store and Crafty Mom missed the name. So we think, Crafty Mom, that it was
crossstitchingsupplies.com. What about Cork?
Oh, I missed a question. Okay. We brought Cork over here because there was one question about
Sit down.
Mr. Coleman is barking, so you might hear a little bit of background noise.
Guarding the house.
We'll pause it if it gets to be too much. There was a question about stitching on cork, and so you wanted to talk a little bit about stitching on cork.
I brought a couple of samples over to show you. This is some cork, and it's really pretty because it's got gold in it. And on the back, you can see it's just, I don't know if you would call it, it's some kind of solid fabric. It's basically fused onto it. And I have had no trouble. I do a lot on my embroidery machine. I've made a bunch of coasters. I've sewn bags on my regular machine. I just want to show you. It comes in other colors too. Fortunately, I don't have every color. I'm close, but I got this beautiful turquoise. Isn't that pretty? And then I got this red, which was really pretty too. So, but I've had no trouble stitching on cork, and you can look up tips for cork, again, on YouTube, somewhere on YouTube, talk about stitching with cork, but I've really enjoyed it, and it's made some really pretty bags.
Excellent. Okay, well, I think now we're going to go into actually showing some stitching. So thanks for sticking with us for 17 minutes before we got to this part, but
Sorry about that.
We'll move along. So we're going to start with whips and new starts, and maybe I'll start. Mom's getting her stuff together. So the first thing I will share, you guys will probably see this every time until it's done, is my Holiday Wishes piece, and I'm working on this snowman. And as I shared last time, I made that my lunchtime stitch, and so I am only working on it when I can stitch during the week, which is usually about 3 days a week. Unfortunately, what I did isn't going to show well because I stitched all the white. So last time I had finished the green and the red, and I was just starting the white up here in the hat. I finished that, and I finished the whole band, almost the whole band around here, which is the fur on his hat, and then I got some of these gray dots in. So after that, then I get to start on his face. And the good news, I shared last time, I'm off one row at the bottom. So far, I haven't picked that up yet. So the good news is I'm not going to have to take out a lot. Hopefully, maybe just a little
Sometimes
bit,
you're just
or
lucky.
not much.
Yeah.
Okay, and then my second item, this is a new start since last time, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I have this Heinzit pattern that I've had for a while called Welcome to the Lake. I have a good friend with a lake house. We love to go up to her house at Houghton Lake on Houghton Lake in Michigan. And so I started that pattern, I think about a week ago. And let's see, I did not take this one out of the frame because it's kind of a pain. But I got that K finished. There's about 17 colors in that K, I counted. It's a lot. And then this morning I added the 2 and I started the A. And there we go. You get a little view of Mr. Coleman.
We're leaving the room. Bye.
He is headed out for the moment. He may be back. And then the other thing is also a new start. So a lot of you are joining in on Americana April, and I decided to pull out this pattern that I've had in my stash for a while, which is from American Life series. It's called Star Spangled Birthday, and it's a pulled thread piece. I haven't done much pulled thread. I saw this one in I almost said the Quilt Shop. I saw this one in Persnickety Stitchers years ago and fell in love with it. I don't know if Vicki still has it there, but I did see it down at Fancy Works. So try Persnickety or Fancy Works if you're interested in that pattern. And this one kind of looks like a mess. but it's because of all the tie-offs. So I've gotten those first 3 buildings done, the gazebo and the 2 houses. And the reason I have my threads like this, you can't pin stitch. You really can't, in many cases, kind of catch the thread behind with the bigger pulled thread work. So I secure them out here, and then eventually with other threads, I will cover those, and I'll just cut off the knot in the front, and it will be taken care of. So those are my 3 whips that I've been working on and continue to work on. How about yours, Mom?
Okay. I have shown you this before, and this is the Christmas Rules by Lizzie Kate. I did the next, I can't read it backwards, but,
Honor traditions.
No, Santa.
Give Santa cookies and milk.
Yes, and that's finished, and I actually started right down here on the next one, but I said, no, I can't do that because I have other stuff I really need to work on. So, that's that. And then, this is one I've been working on for a while, and it's from Rovaris. And I do have the picture. Okay, here's the picture, but let me
pull it out.
All right, pull it out.
Yeah. And
so it's, I guess I could take it off so you could actually see it. But,
so the Rovaris patterns we have learned do not have a name, but this one is 3 hearts across that say home. I think they all say
Home Sweet Home.
Home Sweet Home.
And this is what I've done so far. Does it show?
Yep.
Okay, yeah, so that's what I've done so far. And I will tell you that my stitch group was meeting in the park back in the fall when it was still warm. And we really enjoyed it, and it was really fun, and I had a good time until I was working on this, and a bird pooped on my pattern. So he's on my list. And he has not come back since then. We are planning to go back to stitch in the park, hopefully in the next few weeks when it warms up. But
yeah, that's your whips.
That's my whips.
Okay, good.
I can find. Yeah.
All right, then we'll move on to finishes. Do you have any finishes from last time?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Okay, a finish. Okay. Now this is something my friend here doesn't know about. Oh. All right. This I've had finished for a little bit, but I have to show you because I really like it. This is from Hands On Design, and it's the original Winter that came out of the magazine, and I bought it from Hirschner's. And she's done 4 since then, and I have 2 of them, I believe. My son gave me at least 1 for Christmas. And so I haven't started on the others yet, but I really like it on this fabric, which I have no clue what it is anymore. So, okay. And then you may recognize this pattern. Take it out of the thing.
Yep.
I had a duplicate. So look what I did this week. I got it done. It goes very quickly. Very quickly.
Cute.
Do you need to put a backing behind it?
No, I think it's fine.
Yeah. So that one. And then I got a little more carried away because I said I was going to do Americana April. So that's what I did for Americana April. And shocking, it's done.
Now this one we might need a little backing behind.
Yeah. So can you hold that? Yeah.
Yeah.
So there it is. Hold it straight. Yeah. There. So there. So I got 2 finishes.
And the Friends was on a white Aida. Do you know what this is?
Yes. It's a 28 count mushroom cashel linen.
It's really pretty.
It's pretty fabric. Yes.
And do you have plans how you're going to finish those
Yes,
yet?
I have frames for both of them, which I'll hopefully have done by the next time that we chat.
Yes.
Okay.
And then you have one more?
No, that's...
FFO. Oh,
that's an FFO.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so for finishes, I finished the one I started last time. So last time I told you about the Words to Live By, Part 11, Be Kind. And boy, that was a fast stitch. So here it is. It is not crooked. My fabric is crooked. So I'll clean that up. I just whacked off a piece of fabric, clearly not straight. This was such a fun stitch. It was so quick. And when I originally bought this, I saw it was part of a series, and I was like, no, I'm not going to buy that whole series. But now I'm thinking about it again because I really like how this one turned out.
Yeah.
And I might like the big piece with all of them together. So we'll see. But for now, really like this one. I like the shading and the pink and just the little pop of green. So glad to have that one done. That will go into my pile for finishing later. The second one I finished was my March ornament, which came out of the 2011 Christmas Ornaments magazine. And this one is Christmas Cat Tree. And she is stitched on just a piece of even weave that was in my stash, white. I changed from a black cat to a gray cat because our cat Mittens is gray. So I finished this one up. I think I showed it last time.
Partially done.
And I was mad that I wasn't going to finish it until I realized it wasn't the end of the month. I did get it done before the end of March. It doesn't show up well on here, but it has some silver threads and some red threads in there that are kind of bright. So this will go into the pile of Christmas ornaments to be FFO'd one day. I'm not great at FFOing my ornaments. Okay, and then the third one I have to show you, the pattern is, there's no picture, so I'll just try and show it this way. This is Seasons and Stitches 2012 from Cheryl A. Granda, and I'll put the information below, and it's Noel, and I'm realizing it's showing through a little bit, so I'm just gonna pull that. This is the one I bought the variegated DMC for. This is DMC 4042, and there is my quick finish on Noel. I stitched this on a scrap of fabric that I bought at one of the cross-stitch stores when they sell little scraps, and to be honest with you, I'm not thrilled with it. I don't think the white showed up that well.
No.
So
It needs to be on a different color.
So anyway, I'll finish it up. It'll still go on the tree. It'll be fine. But
you know what you could do is you could backstitch around
maybe
your letters, and that would show it up, and it would because the fabric is really pretty. It's a sparkly fabric.
Yeah.
But the white doesn't show up. You might just take a light gray or something and stitch around, backstitch around.
But I've learned I did really enjoy stitching with this, but I'll probably do it on a black or a darker color next time so that all of those show up well. So those are my finished but not FFOs. Yeah. And now we want to go into FFOs, I think.
Yep. And I only have one, but thanks to, again, COVID vaccine recovery, I was able to finish it last night because we were going to film yesterday, but we couldn't. So I had done, I had started it as one of my 12 ornaments, and here's my finish. And I'm really pleased with it. It's a Mill Hill kit, and I really like it. I backed it with sticky felt and trimmed around it, and then got all those little beads and made a hanger for it. So I have
really
another
pretty.
ornament done. Yeah, I'm really pleased with it. It was a lot of stitching because it's full coverage, all the background and everything. It was a lot, but
tiny but
done.
full coverage.
Yep, it was done. It's finished.
Okay, and I went crazy last weekend FFOing. I wound up with a day where it was a little bit rainy, not a great day to be outside, and I wandered down in the basement and did a bunch of finishing. I was inspired by Liz at Elizabeth Ann Can Stitch to finish this piece. So this is Ski Bum, and this is finished in a little box that was at Hobby Lobby last year. I think it said, welcome friends, or give thanks. And basically I covered this in foam core and then just pushed it back in there. And then I had found these snowflakes and glued them onto the edge. So this is from the Lizzie Kate pattern called Winter Crazy. And you can see there are 4 items in that pattern. One of which is the Ski Bum. So that one was really fun. I'm looking forward to putting this out in between, like after Christmas decorations come down, but before Valentine's goes up.
Winter.
Yeah, and I think you want that pattern.
Yes,
Yeah. Okay, my second FFO is a while coming. So I think 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, I stitched the whole series of Lizzie Kate Flippets from, I think it's 2001. Yes, 2001. And you know Lizzie Kate, she puts out these adorable things, one per month, and then you have to stitch them. Well, this was back when Mom was in Houston and I was up here, and she bought them all and sent them to me. And I thought, oh, those are really cute, and then I put them in my box, and I never stitched them. And a couple years ago, I pulled them out, and I stitched them all with a plan to finish them. They are all stitched. They are not all finished. But I have 5 of them to show you today. So this is a chalkboard, kind of, it's by Ashland.
It's a griddle.
It's, yeah, I don't know what it's. It says Chalkboard Tray. I have the item number, so I'll put that in the description. But basically what I did, a la Priscilla and Chelsea, I glued some magnets on it. I glued some washers to the back, so I can switch out each month. And so I had previously FFO'd 3 of these, but they didn't have the magnets on them. So literally all I had to do was put the washers on. So there's November. These are going to be a little out of order. Here is January. Let me get those a little bit closer. And I'm trying to have some fun with bows. I think we told you last time, not great at bows, working on it. I think this one is my favorite so far. There's December. And so when I do this, I may also display something else kind of at the top. I have to figure that out. Or I may just get some chalk and write something there. And then I skipped a couple of months because I thought I'd like to be able to show these. This one is not sitting on straight, but this is April. And I want to show you something neat I did because I had done the double ribbon before, but it didn't work out that great. So when I did this double ribbon, I actually took it to my sewing machine and I sewed the yellow ribbon to the pink ribbon. So that then when I tied my bow, it all stayed together.
It's one piece?
Yeah, and it made it so much easier than trying to tie 2 different ribbons. And then the last one also, to be ready for next month, I have May done. And so far May's the first one without a bow. I don't know if I'm going to add a bow, but I like that, the rickrack on it. So now I just have to find the right place in the house to put these where I can change them out every month. And so that was kind of what I worked on last weekend. But in addition to that, I got a coupon in the mail from Michael's, and they were having a framing sale. So I took a whole bunch of stuff in, knowing that I wouldn't get frames for everything, but I found 2 things and I got them framed. So the first one is called Welcome from Sarah Designs, and I stitched this one, I think last year. I'll see in just a minute. I've had this for a long time. I really enjoyed stitching it. Mom hasn't seen this yet, so I'm going to hold it this way so she can see it too. And then I'll bring it up close.
I like the fabric.
So, oh, I forgot to look at what I stitched this on. I apologize. But this, I did make color changes in this. I kind of went into the cross stitch shop. I had a couple of threads already. I went to the wall and just picked other ones that worked with it. So I don't think I kept notes on my color conversion. But my advice would be, if you decide to stitch this, just go pick some reds and blues and creams that look great together. And I am so happy. I love this one. So I guess this kind of goes with Americana April as well.
And it's kind of a light gray fabric.
Yeah.
Instead of the tan. They in the pattern they show it on tan, but she's done it on the gray, and I think it sets it off much better. Yeah. Much better. I really like it, and the frame too. It really makes it kind of patriotic.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was kind of fun. And then my biggie is Snow Bells. So this is a Lizzie Kate pattern that I stitched 2 years ago. And I got that framed also at Michael's. And this frame was a steal. I couldn't believe it when they rang up the price, because originally I was just going to buy the frames and take them home myself and frame them.
Move it a little closer, so
And once she quoted it out, I decided to get it framed there. So this is Lizzie Kate Snow Bells. I believe it was stitched on the called for fabric. It is a linen 28 count. I loved stitching this. You have it, and you already have linen to stitch it as well.
Yes.
And I just thought this red mat set it off perfectly. I did not do glass on either of these pieces. I typically don't, I'll keep it here so we can still look at it, but I typically don't put glass in pieces unless they're going to stay out all year. So this one will stay out for a while. I'll keep the wrapping and keep it wrapped up the rest of the year, so it shouldn't get any dust on it. But one last look,
really
Lizzie Kate
pretty.
Snowbells.
Wow.
I'm so happy to have this one framed, and I brought it home and immediately hung it up in my family room, even though it doesn't go with the season, because I just wanted to look at it for a while. So she's staring at it on
our next
It's really
video, you
pretty.
may see a start.
You've wanted to work
My
on that one
snowmen
for a
stay
while.
up all year. Everybody knows that
Yes.
knows me. They're on the stairs. They're on the, oh God, they're all over.
Yeah.
So, oh my God,
Yeah,
I love that.
I
Ooh,
know.
it looks so good. Okay.
Thanks. Okay. So that's all of our FFOs. I will say we've done really well these last couple of videos at having FFOs to show you. We probably won't always have
We've forced ourselves.
FFOs.
It's a challenge.
So-
like the ruler challenge.
But we definitely have other projects that we've finished in the past. So if it comes an episode where we don't have anything new, we'll pull out something old and show you that.
Yeah.
All
we
right.
get stuck with everything.
Shall we move on to haul?
Yeah. You want to
Okay.
start?
First, I'm going to tell a funny story.
Okay.
As we watch Flosstube, we text each other back and forth all the time. Like, can you believe she bought more stuff? She went back to the store again. Look at how much thread came to her house. I'm not going to name any names. You know who you are. Well, in the last couple of weeks, we've been shopping. I went to 2 stores in 2 days. You ordered online again, I think. So anyway.
And went to 2 stores.
We're like the pot calling the kettle black. So
Show them your
I'll show my bag. I will need to get the pattern name and put it in the link, but what does it is the fabric that I bought years ago. This is, I know it's a this and that pattern, and it's a little bag that opens up, and this is like my shopping bag. I always take stuff that I need to, when I need to add stuff. When you open it, this side is Velcro, this side is zippered. I made this several years ago, and it is by far my favorite bag. I love to carry it into a shop and shop with it. So why don't we start with Fancy Works? I think that's where we went first. So did I have a day off work? I think I took a day off.
Yeah, we went on a Friday.
Yeah. I took a day off while the kids were on spring break, and then I spent all day with my mom. So,
But they were fine. They could sit on their their darn devices all day, and nobody said, pick your head up, get off of that, go outside.
They were so happy to stay home and watch Netflix and play video games. So we went down to Fancy Works, and what I've been doing lately, I'm trying to stitch through patterns that I already have. So I go down and I have a list of kind of things that I need. So I bought a bunch of threads, and most of these are for patterns I already have. These are a little bit of everything. I got some classic colorworks, some weak dye works, some sampler threads. I got some DMCs. I'm very excited about these colors for an upcoming project. And then I took with me a pattern, and again, this one is on the fabric, or on the thing. There's no picture, but I'm going to show you the fabric. This is a 32 count linen called Violet Mist. And so the pattern I'm going to stitch on it is kind of a sampler. So I went down to pick a thread to stitch on that, and I found this, and I just think it's absolutely gorgeous. Can't wait to see how it comes
beautiful
out.
Colors.
And
beautiful
that is Weeks Dye Works Bethlehem. Hadn't heard of that color before. I haven't seen it in any of my patterns, but I bet you will see this as a start soon. That's going to be
the top so they can see.
Yeah, it's called Wee Bands of Old Sampler, #1 Scattergood Sampler, and it has several different specialty stitches, and so I'm going to do it all in the one thread.
Where'd you get that pattern?
I think I got this pattern off the giveaway table at our retreat a couple of years ago. I'm pretty sure. And then I also got, in her scrap linen, I got a piece of 28 count Silver Fur from Lakeside Linens. And this is just a really nice kind of dark gray silver. I don't have really any fabric that color. I thought it was really pretty, so I grabbed that. Always fun to add to your fabric stash. I got a little bit of green rickrack from Lady Dot Creates. This is called Grace Green, and I figure I have plenty of projects that we'll work with. And then I bought a couple of needles, and I just want to talk about them briefly. So I bought ball tip needles, and these are Pat Carson needles. These are, I have used the Pat Carsons, and Mom has used them. They're really nice. They kind of slide through like butter. They're so nice to use. I had heard about the ball tip needles from somebody else on Flosstube. Can't remember who, sorry, but I used them with my Ada, and I used them with my Noel piece. I love them. I don't know what it is. When I was stitching in hand, they they grip the fabric or something. Really nice. They are expensive. 2 needles were $8.50. That's pricey. Yes. I am not going to lose these needles, but I love them. So if you stitch in hand and you haven't tried a ballpoint needle or a ball tip needle, I recommend it. So that was all the stuff, and then we were the only ones in the shop. And we sat down for a while and we chit-chatted with Diana. We had a very nice visit with her. And you know when you sit around, you see things and you're like, let me just look through there. Let me look through there. So I found another Lizzie Kate I had to have. So this one is called Don't Cry Because It's Over. It is one of the kits that has the linen and the beads in it. So I will stitch that one day. And then thank you, Liz from Elizabeth Ann Can Stitch, for showing this pattern so many times that when I found it, I had to buy it. This is the Scarlet House Autumn Alphabet. And actually, I did not like the charted threads that were with it. So these are going to be the 3 threads that I stitched this one with. I don't know what fabric. I might check that silver fabric I got to see if that will fit. And thank you, Christy, whose channel name I can't remember right now, but you've been stitching just my type, and I had to buy that one too. This will probably maybe come out next year. It might sit in the stash for a while. And then the last thing I picked up was the Left-Handed Embroiderer's Companion. So when I was working on my iron piece, I was kind of looking for some embroidery ideas, and someone recommended this book, and it's great. It has, tons of embroidery stitches in it, and all from a left-hander's perspective, which is often hard to find. So I picked that up as well. She was having a sale on patterns and books, and so all the patterns and books were a little bit less than normal. So do you want to share your fancy works?
No,
or you want me to finish?
No, just finish.
No, because then the next day, literally the next day, I went to Persnickety Stitchers in Zionsville, and there were 2 threads that I hadn't found the day before, so I picked those up. I was so happy these were both the last thread on the wall for her. And then I picked up another scrap linen. This is a 25 count Lugana pewter. I must be in my silver phase right now, or my gray phase. Even my shirt's gray today. So I picked up that scrap, and then she was also having a sale. I have not made a biscornu yet, but this is so darn cute. No, you didn't know I bought this. Tiny Modernist, the little fox biscornu. So I'm actually thinking maybe later this year we could do a biscornu stitch along.
Oh, that would be fun.
Because I've never stitched one. I don't think you have. No. And I have a couple patterns. So between the 2 of us, we'll find a pattern. But maybe as it goes into late summer, early fall, we could do a stitch along.
We have nothing else to do, right?
Right. And then literally every time I buy a Mill Hill kit, I say, this is the last Mill Hill I'm going to stitch. Liar, liar, pants on fire. I bought another one. This is from the new spring season. It is Dahlia. And those colors just spoke to me. So I bought it. Okay, now your purchases.
You're done. Okay.
I'm done. Let this be. I'm not buying anything else for it.
Okay. Believe that, I got a bridge to sell you.
Okay.
Okay, I did pick up at Persnickety the May Sampler of the Month, and I haven't started any of them yet. Okay, this is another Rovaris, which I got down at Fancy Works. I just can't pass her stuff up. And like I said, I'm a sucker for seasons, and I love Christmas. And then this is by Pantini. And I'll tell you a little story about that. I have a great app on my phone called X-Stitch. And it's free. You can also get an upgraded version, but you can enter your charts, you can enter your kits, you can enter your threads, and all that kind of stuff. So I got it, and I actually went and bought a keyboard for my iPad, and I sat there and I entered all my charts and everything. And then I went down to Fancy Works with Jennifer, and I kept looking at this, and I said, I just love this, but I don't know if I have it. So I bought it. Do you think I could look on my phone at my X-Stitch supply that says, you have it, stupid? So anyway, now I have 2 of them. And then I bought this just because it was pretty. It's a silver blue.
This is a 28 count silver blue.
And
let's do the other linen.
Yeah. And I bought that for...
And this is a raw white 32 count petty point.
And I bought that for something, but now I can't remember what. Remember?
No.
Okay.
I don't remember.
You know
And
how.
this is 28 count summer khaki. Oh, that's a great color.
Yeah. And then I bought a bunch of floss. You know, I just can't pass up floss.
Yeah.
And then I have the mystery from Jordan Privé that I finished, and I have, because they didn't really tell you much, so I started kind of in the middle of my big piece of red. So now I have this thing in the middle, and then I've got a lot of extra space. And I saw those, and they're perfect because they're tiny, and they're on 32 count, so it'll work perfectly.
It'll use up some of that extra red fabric.
It'll use up that extra red fabric. And then, let's see, can we get...
Yeah.
Hands-On Design came out with the French kitchen stuff recently, and I love the charms. I don't know that I'm going to do the stitching, but the charms would work for anything, and they were so pretty that, what can I say? You know how that goes. And then I went to crossstitchingsupplies.com.
Again.
Again, yes. She's going to know me on a first-name basis. And that's a little picture frame I thought I would try maybe for some of my Christmas ornaments and stuff. And then this this guy, I needed to get to the minimum, so I did. No,
there it is.
Can you see it?
Yeah.
He's a needle minder, and he's such a cute dog. And I'm a dog person, so whatever. And then I ordered...
And here we go with the linen. 28 count mushroom Lugana.
Yes, I believe that's from the last time. And then this is the big piece so that I can do that Silver Creek.
My Christmas list.
Yeah, my Christmas list on there. Yeah, because the piece I bought wasn't big enough.
Stormy Clouds Lugana.
So I love
likely
this.
story.
Yeah.
Likely
So
story.
actually, that's all I bought. I wasn't nearly as bad as somebody else I know. This time, she won.
Okay, so that's all. Quilting. I don't have any quilting updates this time. I've been working on a few things, but nothing that's far enough along to bring it. But you have a couple things.
We went to Ovation.
Yeah.
And he had this koala fabric, and at the time, I guess maybe I had a little bit of wine, but my koalas are kind of looking up and down, but I made this project bag because they were so cute. And she bought a ton of fabric, and she gave me a piece to make it. Now I'm hoping it stays here. And then this is my ruler challenge. It is ready to be quilted. There really is no... Yeah, no, you got to hold it the right way so the flowers are...
Oh.
Come on.
Okay.
Okay, so there it is. It's finished. I love the border fabric. I found that at Backdoor the other day, and I think it picks up so many of the colors and everything, and it's really, really pretty. It's directional, and I actually paid attention, and so all my stems go down instead of across. So that's my finish. So it's ready to be quilted, and then there's enough left of this fabric that it might turn into another project bag. So.
Okay. Excellent. All right. And then I think our last thing is our giveaways from last time. So again, we said the comments were fabulous. We really
Loved your
enjoyed
comments.
them.
They were great.
And so we have the 3 giveaways. We use the YouTube random comment picker. And I did practice a little editing this time. So we'll see. Hopefully I can insert right here the picture of the comments. So the first was for this Cork bag that my mom made. And you want to tell us who won that and how many comments we had?
We had 141 comments about Cork, mostly dealing with wine bottles, which I thought was great, watching the rabbits hop across the backyard. So hopefully you weren't totally drunk. And the winner is Meredith Provence. Congratulations, Meredith. Please send an email to our 2tallstitchers@gmail.com, which is linked below, and let us know where you live so I can get it off to you.
Yep. Yeah, so we'll have our email in the notes below. Please send us an email, tell us what you want, and we will get it out in the mail this week. The second item was for the second copy of Heinz-It Mini Block Friends, and the keyword for this was friends.
And we had 89 people who have friends, and a lot of them had friends sitting out in the back after they popped the cork watching the rabbits run through the yard. That was great. And the winner of that is Stitchin' My Stash. So please, again, email us at the email address below. Tell us your real name, because the post office probably won't recognize your YouTube name, and I will get that in the mail this week. Congratulations.
And then our third giveaway was for the Sewing Circle Run Rabbit Run.
And we had 75 people who were interested in rabbits. Obviously, they weren't drinking much wine. But the winner of that is Pam Richardson. Congratulations, Pam.
Yes.
Glad you all participated. Thank you so much. And we'll probably have another giveaway when we reach 2,000. And we're not too far.
No, we're...
So tell your friends. Then you can get more free stuff.
Yeah.
So...
All right. Well, I think that's just about everything. Plans in the coming weeks for you?
Plans in the coming weeks. Well, I would love to get this thing quilted.
Yep.
And just stitching more and getting the spot out of the carpet where the dog puked. He's really a sweet dog. I don't know what he was doing, but yeah, it's not great. And just sewing, quilting with my friends and stitching with Jennifer, and maybe we'll go on another shop hop to either a quilt store or a cross-stitch store. Yeah. And so it's a fairly quiet week, I think.
Yeah, good.
So, yeah.
I'll be working on the whips I showed you today. I'm working on a couple of baby quilts. I also went down to my sewing room after watching a lot of people who are making project bags with orphan blocks. And I've picked out a few orphan blocks, so I might have a project bag to share next time. So thanks for sticking with us. We really appreciate it. And we'll be back in between now and our next show with a little bit of a bonus. We have a little surprise coming for you. And we look forward to seeing you next time. So keep stitching.
Keep crafting. Keep quilting. Keep sewing. And thanks for sticking with us. This has been a long one. We didn't plan it to be that long, but hopefully you enjoyed it and you had something to drink while you were doing it. So
thanks,
take
everyone.
care. Have a good week.
Bye.
Bye.